The liver was packaged from processing, and USDA processing was one of the few organs that left the processing plant and had been inspected. Liver is quite a large organ. What I'll be doing with this is chopping it up, adding herbs and spices, and taking ground pork and pork fat from the shoulder and making a liverwurst. A liverwurst is a simple sausage with varying amounts of liver and pork product. It is ground and emulsified so it becomes smooth or near smooth, and then the fat, muscle, and meat products and some juices all emulsify into a smooth paste. I prefer to smoke it. I think that smoking it takes some of the stronger flavors and melds them together, as well as the more mild pork, and that we get the best product when it is lightly smoked, but it's a choice to do that. This sausage, once prepared, will be boiled first or poached so that it firms up and cooks it completely before I go through a light smoking process. This item came out of the freezer. This is some of the pork belly, pork back fat coming off of the thick portion of the loin. When the loins were clean, chops, you can have up to about an inch of fat. There is a fairly obvious natural separation of two different fat layers, and by running your hand down between those fat layers or a knife, you can separate it out, and you end up with fatback. This is uncured, so it can be cut up and used as put into sausage, where you need sausage garnish of fat pieces after poaching it, or more likely you would sweat it down to use it for cooking preparations like beans or other stews where you need a fat product. This is approximately 40 pounds of cubed pork, primarily shoulder and other trim pieces. This is everything that was not used for another preparation, coming off of a 200-pound pig. So this was thrown in the freezer for the week. It's been out for a couple of days. It's thawing out. It's nice and chilled, and it will be the basis for making a variety of sausages, a pate, and also the liverwurst, the liver sausage. So this is shoulder meat, which when you take a shoulder in its natural form and dice up the pork shoulder or picnic, you get almost a 30% fat to meat. So 30% fat, 70% meat. That is the perfect ratio for making sausage, between 25 and 30%, to get the moisture, the texture, the succulence, and not have a dry product. This is ideal. I don't need to add or take away anything from it. I did remove the heaviest fat from some of the pieces, and again, this is my multi-use pork for grinding. Right here, these were purchased. These are hog casings, so this is the hog intestines. So this would be Italian sausage size or bratwurst size sausage casings. This is called a hank. A hank is roughly 100 feet of intestinal lining. You can get sheep, which is breakfast sausage size. You can get pork, which is the size that I prefer. Many times it's easier to fill. And then you can get some beef sizes. Middles are like sopressata at a couple inch size to larger ends of the intestine all the way up to the bung, which is your mortadella or bologna slice. It's about 3 feet long and has quite a large diameter. You can also buy a variety of plastic casings, collagen casings, gelatin, and fiber casings. Some of them are edible, some of them are smokable, some of them need to be removed completely. So those are all available through sausage makers. I do like to use the natural casings when possible because they provide an edible, nice snap to a product, and they're easy to smoke. And what I've done is I've prepared the basic meats that I need for my liverwurst, or sometimes called Braunschweiger. What I do is approximately half pork and half liver. It could be a pork liver or a beef liver. You can go up from that. You can go up to 2 parts pork, 1 part liver, which I'm closer to that on this batch. It's about a 10 to 11 pound batch. And I don't like the pork liver to overwhelm and be too strong, so I want to cut it. But also, pork liver is super high protein. It doesn't have hardly any fat, so I need to cut in a lot of fat as part of this item. So I have pork meat, which is protein. I have the softer pork liver, and then here you can either use bacon or pancetta. In this case, I'm just using fatback, some of that salted cured fatback, because I need to create an emulsified sausage. Emulsified sausage, think about a hot dog or a piece of bologna where you can't see chunks or grind. You can't see the difference between meat and protein. pieces and the fat. We bring it all together with some water and we emulsify fat and protein together. So the way we do that is using a combination of temperature, water, and we use a little bit of non-fat milk powder also that will bring it all together to a smooth paste, and we'll be able to poach and cook the sausage, and then we'll be able to smoke it if we choose. So the first thing I do is I have a cure mixture. This is salt, sugar, and TCM curing mixture, weighed out. You need to be very careful. This is Insecure, one type of TCM. You need to know what type of cure you have, the right amount to use per pound, and you need to measure it exactly. If you fail to do that, it could be quite dangerous in relatively small amounts. It could be deadly, so we need to dose it carefully and not just by eye. So the first thing we're going to do, after dicing up our meat and weighing it all out, is we put the cure on. And the cure gets worked in, and we're going to put this in the freezer, and we're going to bring this meat product to a near frozen state, because I need to add in iced water and bring my temperature down almost to 30 degrees, and then bring it back up closer into the 40-45 degree range while I'm adding in my fat milk powder and have the ice or iced water in there, which will allow my emulsion to come together without breaking and getting fat globules. While this is chilling in the freezer, I'll also chill my fat. Grinding always is better when it's very cold. I have a spice blend here. It's got a combination of white pepper, nutmeg, ginger, sage. I've added a little bit of thyme and mustard powder, which is an optional item, and other brown spices. So that will be added in as part of my grind as I prepare this sausage. Alright, so we have gone through a grinding process. I'll show you the grinder in a moment, but we've taken the heavily chilled, almost frozen pork and liver, and we have ground it through a fine grind. We've also ground the bacon or pork fat separately, which will be introduced. And we're going to go through an emulsion which requires temperature, ice water, and the right amounts of salts, and bring it into a smooth paste. And we're going to do that progressively by lowering the puree almost down to 30 degrees, and then bringing it up around 40 when we introduce some milk powder and fat, making our smooth sausage, which will then be ready to poach as well as smoke. Going back to the grinding equipment, I have small home grinders which I find are just as useful as a slightly larger small restaurant grinder. And so we have right here all of our grinding pieces, and we attach them onto a commercial mixer, well chilled, and do our grinding. I've dropped below 30 degrees here and brought it back up around 40 with some ice. I made a nice puree. I've changed from the mixer, the blending chopper to the mixer, because sometimes it's too much volume and the chopper can't keep up, so this is an alternative method. It works pretty well. I've now added it in the fat, I've pureed that, and I'm coming up around 45 degrees, and then I will add in the milk powder and bring it to 58 degrees, where I will be done and ready to taste the sausage. So this is a very large liverwurst. It's about full 10-11 pounds. We are going to poach it tomorrow. We'll let it rest and relax a little bit, and then we will smoke it following the poaching, probably also tomorrow.